Hello. Okay, now today I'm going to teach you how to bake just a basic cake. There's going to be times in your life when you're going to be asked to bring something or to bring a cake or something like that, or you're just going to want something sweet to eat. So, and I know how you like cake, so I'm just teaching you a basic cake. And the one I have I think it actually came from the Depression time, is called Lazy Daisy Cake. It's an old cake recipe. Has very few ingredients and it's very easy. So what it calls for, and I'll put the ingredients below, but it calls for eggs, 2 eggs, 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, a 1/2 cup of hot milk, and 3 tablespoons of butter. And I'll show what to do on that recipe, but it also calls for a frosting. So I'm going to do this video in a couple of batches, but we'll have it all compiled together. So what you're supposed to do first is you're supposed to beat the 2 eggs well, and you're going to add in the cup of sugar. So that's going to take 2.5 minutes. You have to beat that for 2.5 minutes. So I'll see you in 2.5 minutes. Okay, so right now your batter, or this is the start of it, is, pan over here a little bit, hon, so they can see. It's going to look like this. It is the starting of it's starting to look like cake batter, although it's only eggs and sugar at this point. Okay, so the recipe then calls for a cup of flour, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and you have to combine them, and then you put it in your cake mix. So let's do that. We're gonna put it on stir, or I do, and just start dropping it in. Very easy. Okay, and now the recipe also calls for a 1/2 cup of hot milk and 3 tablespoons of butter. So I've heated up my milk and I've added the butter as well. And so you go ahead and you add that in. Okay. And you're gonna let that incorporate. Eventually you get it up to medium speed. It's almost done. Then we're going to put it into a greased, I have an 8x8 pan, which is what is here. So this is a greased 8x8 pan. Here's your batter. What it's going to look like, just regular cake batter. Okay, so we're going to pour it in. My oven, sorry babe, my oven is on 350, and you will let it cook, or you can let it cook for 25 to 30 minutes. Just watch until it is golden brown. And this is like a yellow cake mix. Okay, now in the meantime, while it's cooking, we'll be baking or making on the stovetop the frosting for it. And it's just basically a brown sugar topping or frosting. Okay, so I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, so the cake is baking, and I'm going to go ahead and make the frosting for the cake. Now, the only ingredients the frosting requires is brown sugar, 5 tablespoons of brown sugar, which 4 tablespoons of brown sugar is 1/4 of a cup. So we're going to do just a heaping 1/4 of a cup of brown sugar, and I'll show you how to do that. And then it requires 3 tablespoons of butter and 2 tablespoons of, it says cream, but I have milk, so that's what I'm using. Most of you know, but I'll just tell you anyway. When you're measuring brown sugar, it's different than regular sugar. Recipes, when they call for brown sugar, typically they are assuming you're going to pack this down tightly. So the way I do it, so I don't get it all over myself, is I just stick this in there, and I use the bag flatten it really good. So that's going to be your 1/4 cup. But I'm going to add some more to it because there. And that's going to go right in here. I just made a mess. Okay. And we're going to heat this up to boiling. Let me see how long it says. Hold on. I think it says 3 minutes. Yeah, it's a 3-minute boil. So that'll be ready. So just boil this, and it's just a nice sweet frosting for it. And we'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, so the icing is boiling. It's been boiling almost 3 minutes. This is what's called a rolling boil. See, no matter if I stir it, no matter how fast I stir it, it's still boiling. And that's called a rolling boil. Okay, so just watch for that. And then we're going to set this to the side until the cake is done. And then when the cake's done, we'll pour this all over the top. Okay, so now the cake has cooked, baked, and it's been about 30, actually it took about 35 minutes. But anyway, it's going to look like this, little golden brown. And here is the caramel sauce that is the frosting for it. And you just drizzle it over it even while it's hot. It's fine. And it's such an easy cake recipe. If you just got a hankering for cake. It's bubbling. Yummy, yummy. Okay, so there you go. There's your easy, lazy daisy cake. It's so good, I think I'm gonna